Hey, it's Captain Roger. Let's go for a drive. I've actually been walking around different locations for about the last 5 hours, and so as I'm heading home and I'm still about 40 minutes away, it occurs to me I'm probably not going to make it out for a separate walk today, which is kind of sad because it's the day before Easter, and we've reached the point in the book of Judges. We're talking about Samson, who is one of my favorite all-time bad guys who no one should ever look up to ever, who I was always taught was a great guy to look up to by people who probably didn't know any better because they maybe never actually read the scriptures about Samson and figured out what was going on. For example, after he's born, the first thing we really hear about him is that he decides to marry a Philistine woman. Now, how he managed to meet her is never explained, and what exactly it is that he was hoping to accomplish with this marriage is also never explained. And the whole story, quite frankly, is pretty much there just to tell us that Samson has grown up to become quite a heroic sort of figure, in that he is walking through the wilderness to his bride's home, his bride-to-be's home. He is attacked by a lion, which he catches by the jaw and tears in half, which is an amazing feat, possibly an amazing feat of strength, possibly not. I mean, you got to be stronger than I am probably to do that, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily suggest superhuman strength. We also hear other people in Scripture who catch lions. King David, for example, caught a lion by the beard and killed it that way, and released a sheep that it had taken. Asiatic lions used to be a big thing in Israel. They were all across that area. They used to be very common. Nowadays, sadly, the only chance you're ever going to see a lion in Israel is at a zoo or something similar. But it's the way it was back in Samson's day, and it was just a dangerous area. And he left that lion carcass out. And when he came back by the next time, he discovered that a nest of bees had actually formed up inside the carcass. Now, I'm guessing that means that when he ripped this thing open, he left it, and all that soft tissue got eaten away fairly quickly, because bees don't normally create nests inside of living tissue, but inside of a skeleton that was left behind, they might be pretty excited to do that. And seeing bees there, he went and he scooped out some honey, and he ate it. Now, this tells us a couple of things about Samson. First, it tells us, A, he was strong, B, he was brave, C, he was bright enough to figure out how to get honey out of a beehive without getting stung badly, or possibly he was dumb enough to just go and get stung a whole bunch of times while he got the honey. Hard to say. But honey from beehives was a special thing, and so he was pretty excited to get it, I'm sure, and we're told that he shared it with his parents without telling them where it came from. Because the other thing this tells us about Samson is that he did not pay much attention to the Nazirite vow that he had been bound to before he was born. He was supposed to be following this very special vow where he kept himself pure and set apart from earthly things so that he could do God's service. So the very first story we have about Samson is about him refusing to walk with God in the way that he was literally born to. And that kind of raises a question for me as to what kind of guy Samson really was, and what it was that he might have been capable of if he had actually devoted himself to walking with God rather than devoting himself to, as you'll see over the next couple of days, chasing after pretty much whatever whim or pleasure he had in mind at the time. So I think that's probably enough for today, but I just want you to think about that as we head into Easter tomorrow, and then the week after that, as we talk about Samson. Just think about what could he have accomplished if he had actually devoted himself to walking with God. And then if you want to get personal or introspective, ask yourself, what could I have accomplished in the times that I walked away from God? I know I had a period of about 10 years where I was definitely on the outside of what God had asked me to do. And I just think, what if I hadn't lost those 10 years? Where would we be at now? But you know what? We are where we are, and we can't go back and change things. We can only go forward. So I'm going to go forward and finish my drive. Grace and peace to you all. I'll see you tomorrow.